Okay, we're going to assemble the base now, and the first step we're going to do is we're going to put our secondary shaft in. Slides right in. We're going to take our secondary throttle plates. There's numbers here. You can see where it originally went because it's got a shiny spot, but if you were to polish these you would know. But it's got a number here because these are beveled. They're reverse beveled, so they seal. So the number on the secondaries goes down and towards the center. Number down towards the center. So we'll set it in there and seat it, and we'll get our screw holes lined up and move the shaft back and forth a little bit. We're going to put our screws in. These are 3/48 1/4 inch length binding head machine screws, stainless steel. We won't be staking these screws because they're stainless. We'll just, after everything is adjusted, fitted, and we'll go back and remove one screw at a time and Loctite them. I've never had Loctite come loose. Just barely want to snug those. Same way, number down towards the center. Screws in. Just barely seat them. Make sure you're just loose enough. Snug each one. And I'm going to check them, see if they're up in the light. These are dead on. If you adjust them like that, they usually fall right into place. Otherwise you're going to have to monkey around with them. These have to be very tight around these two surfaces. You're going to see a little bit of light where the shafts are, but the primary thing is the big circles that they're sealed. If they're not sealed good and tight, at idle you're going to pull air past these blades and you're going to get, it'll start pulling fuel from your secondary nozzles, and you'll be getting a drip, which is going to give you an erratic idle. If I do any more videos, I'll show you how to test that when the car is running. It's a very simple test. We'll install the primaries. Same setup, except the numbers on the primaries are up and towards the center because they're also beveled. They'll only go in one way. If you forget, you know, what I said here or whatever, they'll only go in really one way and adjust out. These screws on the primary are 3/48 3/16 length because the primary throttle blades are thinner. I don't want a bunch of screw threads hanging, you know, down in the passage. So we got that one. Numbers up towards the center, primaries. I use these little screw holders. Because the stainless is non-magnetic. Primary is going to be basically the same way. I'm going to make sure they're just backed off a little. Seat them. snug them up. I'm going to check them for light. These are real nice. The primaries, if they're not absolutely perfect like you want the secondaries, you're going to bleed air around there for your idle system anyway, so it's not as critical. But you want to get them as good as you can. Now we're going to set our adjustment for 90-degree opening of our throttle blades before we hook our linkage, tying the primary to the secondary. This foot here on the linkage has to bottom out on the base plate, and then these primary blades will be at 90 degrees. This is key to the shaft. If nobody's played with this, this will come out dead 90. If somebody's been bending on this, then you're going to have to bend it so when it's touching the base, you're at 90. The secondaries, if you turn it around, you'll see this roll pin that goes through the shaft, and it's stopping at a boss on the on the base plate. You're at 90. Now, if nobody's played around with this or filed on any of this stuff, it'll be dead 90. That's how I said, in fact, otherwise you're going to have to straighten these pins out or whatever to achieve that 90 stop. So we're at 90, foot's down on the base. We're at 90, pins stopping against the boss. Those two adjustments have to be done first before you put your linkage rod in. We're going to assemble our primary to secondary rod linkage with the springs. So the first step is to hook it into the secondary little bell crank deal that's there. Get your rod in there, get your, that's how it's supposed to look, like that. Just leave that hang down. I'm going to put my inner spring in. I'm going to put the arm on, and then I'm going to install the heavier outer spring. See, I line up that slot. Spring goes in like that. This inner spring here, you got to make sure that that little tail there is hooked around your arm here. You just go around the other way, just like that. See how it grabs a hold of that arm right there? And this spring's going to have to be wound around, and it takes a little finessing. It has to be around one turn. So what I'll do is work it around with my fingers until I can get it in to a position where I can grab it with my needle nose. I want to grab it like with the front and keep the needle nose straight, so I can just pull it up and then in, and then that keeps the coils in there. You want to use your needle nose straight when you pull it, and don't get them sideways because they're going to get all bound up in here. Basically, this secondary one, you're going to have to hold the throttle plates closed, and you can work that. It's a tougher spring, so you're going to have to work it around where you can get a hold of it. Hold all that stuff closed, and it goes right in there. The only important thing you want to make sure is that your coils are all in a row. One's not sitting on top of the other, inner and outer, otherwise the spring's not going to work right. And that's basically it. And then now you want to check to make sure your adjustment on the rod is good. I'm at 90, I'm at 90. My foot's at the stop. Secondary, my pin's at the stop in the back. If this wasn't happening, your adjustment is this little tab right here, because that's what's contacting the arm on this rod. See, it comes down and starts pushing the secondaries. If this wasn't your primaries, if the foot wasn't sitting down, you bend, this is where your adjustment is, on this part right here, bending it upward or downward, in order for the foot to be down on the primaries and the secondaries to be against your pin. That's the only adjustment you would do. It's pretty simple. You don't want to get out of sequence on adjusting these, otherwise you're bending a bunch of stuff you don't have to.